Hello, beautiful people. Spiegelman here, and welcome by my in-depth guide uh, for Infinite Magic Raids PvP. Um, you guys asked me to do a little bit more kind of TED Talk, in-depth PvP guide, and a few questions come in mind about what makes you a good PvP player, Guild Arena, or just normal arena. And um, I try to explain a little about this part, which I enjoy the most of Infinite Magic Grade, by trying to talk about four subjects. The first subject that I'm going to discuss is what makes a hero a good PvP hero. The second part is what are good teams. The third part is speed tuning. And the last part is complementing heroes. So which heroes will work great together. But first, let's talk about what makes a hero a good PvP hero. And there are quite some differences between a good PvP and a good PvE hero. Because a PvE hero um, can only shine in one area, and it can shine so great in it that it is really great in some kind of PvE content. Also, because the PvE part is really predictable. Like you can predict what attack will come at what time, so you can counter it. And sometimes you need just one counter to get the boss basically locked out. And a good example for this is Nordic. Nordic is a great PvE hero. But is he also a good PvP hero? In my opinion, there are 5 subjects which, let's say, if all 5 of these subjects are top tier for one character, it would be overpowered. Um, but a good character has 2, 3, 4 of them. So it makes you a little bit more versatile, and it also helps you in different setups where you fight against, because that's the thing about PvP. You don't know what the enemy will do. Of course, when you do, for example, Guild Arena, and you fight the battle, then you know which 5 heroes you fight against, and also you can kind of predict what the autocast will do, but still it's way different than PvE content. A good PvP hero should have or CC, which means crowd control. The other thing that is really useful is turn meter manipulation. Then you have defensive capabilities. Then, of course, offense. And the last part is buffs or buff removers. So these are the 5 things. And let's have a little bit more in-depth look about CCs. And when you look at CCs, there are 3 types of CC. First one is like the real hard crowd control. What do I mean by that? You lock out an enemy opponent or an enemy team or some members of the team by making sure that they cannot act. And a good example from this is, where do you have him? Richter. Richter's ultimate says deal stun to all the enemies, 50% chance. And of course, affected, edit, and effect resistance, subtracted effect resistance from the enemy, of course. So you can stun a whole team or parts of the team. And a stunned enemy is an enemy that cannot act on his or her turn. Same is for freeze. Freeze is basically the same. You freeze an enemy, he cannot act. Good heroes with CC are, for example, this Rister, but also Santa, of course. Santa is the best freezer in the game, but there are a little bit more of these characters. Quinlan with exclusives, if I'm correct, can do some freezes with even his basic attack, but especially his ultimate. Um, and do we have more? Oh, there are some heroes, I think Ether and especially Popper, for example. If Popper is killed, he tries to stun the enemy team, and it's possible that it is. Oh yeah, here it's with the exclusive, of course, exclusive one. But if Popper dies, he deals a certain amount of damage, and there's a 70% chance to inflict stun for one turn. So uh, um, it's helpful, like, and also really important to know this for your team. Like, don't kill Popper because there's a big chance your whole team will be stunned, unless, for example, you know for sure that you can win the fight. For example, there's only one other hero left. Um, Else, it might be a problem. Like if you kill Popper as the first enemy target, your whole team might get stunned, and if you cannot get out of it by this anti-CC, uh, you might lose just by killing an enemy. It's important to know. Then you have a kind of softer CCs. And what do I mean by that? A softer CC means like the enemy still can act, but not to full potential. And for example, a good example is Sindo. As Sindo's silence um, make sure that you can only the enemy can only do basic attack. That is nice because basic attacks are normally way less strong than the ultimate and the second attacks. Um, Another example of soft CC is, for example, where is the uh, no, this is that I cannot find it. Oh, yeah, Ronai. Um, Ronai has a chance to hypnotize, and hypnotize is a little bit less strong than stun. Why? Because if you deal damage to a target which is hypnotized, they get out of the hypnotize. So what sometimes happens with me is I have the whole team hypnotized, and right after they are hypnotized, my Paulin have to use his basic attack, attacks all the enemies for a little bit of damage, but they all got out of the hypnotize. Um, so as long as you don't deal damage to a hypnotized opponent, it is as strong as a stun, for example. But if you attack it, they go out of the hypnotize. So a little bit softer. And then the last part is it's basically what you try to do is you hamper the abilities of your enemy, which is kind of defensive, but it's kind of CC. For example, Nareed has a good attack. I don't know exactly which one of these, if it's confused or suffocate, but basically, oh wait, you can unable to launch basic attacks. So if they are suffocated and they are silenced, um, it's basically as strong as a stun because they only can use basic tech because of the silence, but since they're suffocated, they cannot launch basic attacks, and also they cannot pursue attacks because it's and counter attacks because that's also based on the basic attack, so the first attack of an enemy. So Suffocate, it's kind of also a CC. And the same is Confuse when casting. They will still attack, but they will attack a random enemy instead of the enemy that they try to attack. It can sometimes be useful because if they try to kill one of your heroes and they are confused, they attack somebody else. And if that target, for example, has a counterattack, that can be useful. It's the least hard of the three types of CC, in my opinion. It's what I said, somewhat defensive, but I will also, especially for example, Suffocated, I will put it on the CC tab. So CC, if your heroes can CC in some kind of way, they have a plus for PvP. Then turn meter manipulation. There is two types of turn meter manipulation, and it's also subdivided by some. The first one is like you can remove turn meter from the enemy or the enemy team. Then you also have this kind of draining. It's, for example, Lydia. What she does with her basic attack is she steals turn meter. 3 stages, and she steals 6% turn meter. So this is not only draining, basically 80% turn meter, but also giving Lydia herself turn meter. And of course, when she uses the knockback water shooting on her turn meter bar is drained because she's using attack. But again, she gained right away 18%. And with last part, it's 10% when landing in crit. So if you can manage to dish out 3 stages of with a crit, she drains 30% turn meter. So 30% off and 30% on top of your bar. So this is great. This is really nice. So, and then you have the turn meter gain on your own team. When you steal it, it happens, and it's the same for Ascindo. Ascindo also steals, for example, with this one, if you have the exclusive, she not only removed up to 20% turn meter, but also steals it, so she gained that. Heroes that give turn meter are there in 2 ways. Heroes that give your whole team turn meter, for example, Space. And Space starts already with 80% turn meter at the beginning of the wave, so that's quite nice. And with the skills, it's even higher, 26%. So she starts with 26%, basically more speed. That's how you can see that, and that's a quarter more. So 600 more, around 600, 650 more speed compared to someone who don't get any turn meter at the start. But because she is most of the time really fast, because of the extra turn meter, she can use her ultimate, and her ultimate gives some kind of heal and increase the turn meter by 20, or with exclusive even 30%. So you see your bar fill really fast. Then there are the last part of the heroes that give turn meter, and that's they give only turn meter to a specific hero. Again, for example, Richter. And Richter with exclusive 1, I think he needs exclusive 1. Not only does he get turn meter, but he also gives turn meter on the ally with alliance. That's normally the ally with the highest attack power, 30% turn meter. So if you have, for example, Richter and space, and you can let them act because, as you see, my Richter is also quite fast. So not as fast as my space, even though space has a lower speed because she get that extra turn meter from the start. She will act first, give everybody 20% turn meter, then my Richter, because then my Richter has 20% extra turn meter and a really high speed, so he will act next. Gives my, for example, Nalia or my other cleave damage dealer Nita also this 30% turn meter. So Nita has 50% extra turn meter. And 50% extra turn meter basically means that her speed, this is how you can kind of calculate it, 50% faster. So instead of almost 2000 speed, her relative speed is almost 3000. So if the enemy didn't get any turn meter at all, your Nita will act before any enemy which has a relative speed of about 3000 or lower. And there are not a lot of characters who have a basic speed of 3000, unless you're kind of will, but okay. Then your speed of your Nita most likely will be higher. Even you will not use Nita at all. So this is the turn meter. Then the last is that you give not, for example, this 30%, but you fill up the turn meter bar. And this is, for example, focus. Focus ultimate says increase the alert turn meter by 100%. This is not true. What's written here is not completely true. Basically, it says increase the allies turn meter up to 100%. So it fills your bar up to 100% and let that hero, that ally, act right away. And also the fun thing is that it resets active skill cooldowns, etc., etc. Basically, what you want is you want to use it on an ally that has 0 to none turn meter, because it fills the bar and you benefit way more from it. Sometimes when you want like to snipe in between enemies and you have this ultimate ready, sometimes it's needed to make your damage dealer a little bit more fast, because it will act on the speed of focus. So when focus is there, he can do the ultimate, and even a really slow, for example, my little Jack, because he has no speed artifact, has a speed of, let's say, 1500. And his speed will be boosted one time to this speed. So sometimes it's needed to do that, but sometimes it's better to use first a defensive skill and wait till you want that to really fill that turn bar. And let's see if I can give a good example. Okay, so the first team trying to turn me to manipulate, and in this case, because I know that my Popper acts first, but I know that my Ronin acts as well. What I will do is not use my ultimate and drain turn meter, because I can use that later. First, I want to put effect resistance down, because now when I use the ultimate, I not only drain 24% turn meter, you will see it will go down quite a lot. It also has a chance to hypnotize. And you see, because of the effect resistance, all the enemies that did not get effect resistance up, so to counter it, is hypnotized. And the good thing is, and we already talk a bit about complementing heroes, if I use now the ultimate of Popper, because Popper acts after your any other allied hero acts, he can act another turn. If you use the ultimate, not only do you drain a little bit more turn meter, it also doesn't remove the hypnotize. Why? I don't know. It doesn't count as damage for some strange reason. So now you see, you completely drain them out of turn meter, and you still have a lot of heroes that are that can act, and you see that your my Ronin and my Popper with a really high speed have already a little bit turn meter comparing to the enemy team. They will act before they can act, if they act at all and if they are not killed. So now what I want is I want to give my Nalia 30% turn meter, bar filled, enemy bar still almost gone. And what I want to do now, normally I would, for example, use attack on them all to stun, but what I want to show you is I want to show you the difference between having a focus act after my Nalia and not before. Because if I would use an attack and he would be there, he would just give the give her basically up to 100%, but she is already on 100%, so it's not working. The bad thing is if I kill an enemy now, focus gets 20% turn meter and he acts before. So let's see and hope that, yeah, no, still killed. Okay, so now I can give her turn meter, but why would I do that? No use. So I will just protect myself. And now. So a little bit about CC, a little bit about turn meter manipulation. And the last three defense, offense, and buffs and bug removers are a little bit more easy to talk about, also a little bit faster. Defense, it's basically putting shields on your heroes, putting Nordox damage immunity on it. They're really great. But keep in mind, they can be removed. And also anti-CC, anti-CC. So defending yourself against CCs put on your heroes or giving yourself or your allies effect resistance up. So what you saw in the battle was that 3 enemies were frozen and 2 enemies got effect resistance up to countering the effect resistance down from Popper, and you see that it was enough to withstand the freeze from Nicholas. If it was the freeze, I don't know exactly what it was. But okay, the CC that I tried to put on it. So, or raising your effect resistance, for example, by Pauling can do that, or removing it. And there are 3 heroes, as far as I know, that are great in removing CC. And of course, Paulin, it's the most known because he's quite hard to CC. It is possible, but especially with exclusives and like with a lot of effect resistance, like up to more than 100, and later on in arena you even get Paulins with 150% or 160% effect resistance, you cannot CC him normally. And Paulin has his ultimate where he removed all debuffs, so also freezes, stuns, silences, etc. So great one. The second one is Catherine, because Catherine has a passive, and at the start of her turn, she removes a debuff from herself and any ally. So as long as there's only one debuff on Catherine, for example, a freeze, at the start of the turn, she removed that freeze, and she removed the freeze from all enemies. Or all allies. And also, when you have her exclusive 3, she can use Solid Guardian and she acts for one more turn, so you can right away cast High Spirited for the counter attack and the extra shield, which is great defense. Shield consolidation, basically giving you 40% more less damage. And because she acts 2 times, she can remove up to 2 debuffs, and a CC is a debuff, same as for poison, etc. The third hero, which is a bit unknown and my favorite, is Nelia. Because Nelia, with exclusive 3, gain, and the exact math I'm not going to explain, but she gains a few layers, and she get lost when the enemies act and blah blah blah. Basically, what happens is that if the enemy acts before you and deals damage to her, or she sees her, for example, a Nazil. Nazil acts before everybody else except Lydia. But the same is for Lydia's exclusive 3 imprisonment. If that happens, she will cleanse all debuffs from herself and act 1 turn immediately. So she can act right away. And her Fallen Turbulence has the ability to cleanses 1 layer of debuff from all allies. So as long as there is only 1 debuff on the team, so for example, a freeze from the Zeal or an imprisonment from Lydia, she removes that 1 debuff, basically anti-CCing your whole team and dealing damage, and reduces also the turn meter, blah blah blah, if the extra damage lands a crit, removing turn meter. That was the defit. One thing, a few enemies have some special abilities, kind of taunting abilities. The most known is, where is the, I always forget his name, the bald guy with the tail, ponytail, Mamuk. Mamuk grants taunt and immortal, so enemies need to target him, and since he's immortal, he cannot die. Then steals buffs, which is great, except every buff, but steals buffs and extends the duration of buffs, also his taunt and immortal, by 1 turn. So basically 3 turn taunt and immortal, and Brushy Taunt has a 3 turn cooldown. Normally, when they are not removed or stolen back, you can keep Taunt and Immortal up all the time. And the other hero that is quite famous is the Donald Rebelly, or Ronald Debbly, but I forgot his name, and he also has a taunt. The only thing is he targets the hero in the enemy team with the highest attack power, and that's the hero that can only attack him with basic attacks. Really annoying hero. Offense. Offense is really easy. You need to kill your enemies, so you need to deal damage. And there's 2 kinds of damage. There's single target damage, kind of nuking attacks that kill one enemy, and you can do that by, or you can use that so you take out the biggest threat, try to CC the rest, or steal some turn meter, and then focus the one target that's the biggest threat, nuke it with, for example, Lucifer. He's a great single target damage dealer. Um, or and by this get a numeric advantage, um, and then you try to win the battle. Some heroes also have some extras on their single target damage. For example, Brunhild, she is great, deals 2 stages 240 death damage, which is quite nice, especially since he ignores immortal damage immunity and shield. But the great thing with exclusive 2 is that when she casts it, she gets turn meter, when she blah blah blah, like 40%, and when she kills, she can X right away. So if she attacks and kills, she can attack the next opponent. So single target, which can be used repeatedly, extra plus. The second type of offensive damage is the cleave damage, and that's basically Nida is the best example. Like nuke everybody in the team, deals as much damage, especially she is nice with the poison layers. But Nereid also has the same. Nereid has a really nice ultimate by giving everybody kind of a lot of damage, and also a damage over time buff with ground. And after that, she has the water bomb, 4 stages of 8% of her max hit points, which is basically a single target finisher. So cleave teams try to dish out a lot of damage and kill the complete enemy team before they have time to heal up. And then the last, buff and buff removers. Like you can put buffs on your enemy, on your heroes, and Nita, for example, really benefits from the second attack from Rister, because not only will she get extra turn meter, 30%, she also gets attack up to 40% extra attack, and stealth, so she cannot be targeted. It's the same for my Nelua, also 40% extra attack. It's a huge difference. It's the difference between just keeping your enemies alive and giving them time to heal up, or to really cleave them to death. And the last is removing buffs, and especially the nasty buffs like immortality from Nordek. If he can cast his immortality basically until you remove it, or after 2 turns, because after 2 turns it's gone, all your attacks, damage dealt, CCs on the enemy team are wasted. You saw a little example, like Nordic was. Oh no, it was not in this video, but in another video. But it doesn't matter. Like Nordic makes immune, and my Nereid was right after it. Yeah, and basically what I did is just use the basic attacks, because it's a waste. But I had to do something. So you need options to remove those CCs. The same goes for Mamuk. If Mamuk can have his taunt and his immortality, and you cannot remove it, you cannot kill him. Because taunt and immortal for 3 turns, immortal for 3 turns, as long as you cannot remove the immortal, he will not die, and after 300 turns, the only hero which is standing in the enemy team is Mamuk, basically with 0 hit points, but with Immortal, so he's barely hanging. Maybe did it even have a turn or like little turns because you are draining his turn meter? That's even more annoying. You cannot remove the Immortal, you will lose. Your whole team is alive, 100% hit points, millions of damage, but Mamuk is still standing there. You will lose the battle. So, removing CC is a must have in almost every team. And good heroes to remove buffs are Brunhild, not the best, but Brunhild's sword scouring impact removes all buffs. Another great hero is Ben Austin. And it's not from the whole team, but he can remove all buffs from one opponent and then make some pursue attacks. Also nice. Of course, Guilliman. Guilliman's ultimate also remove all buffs and give them a speed debuff and a really nice dot of damage. Also because with exclusive 3, she also casts bursting knowledge after her ultimate, so a lot of damage dished out. And again, for example, Nelua is also great because if she uses her second attack, every star that crits removes 1 buff from the enemy target. And then honorable mention, not so honorable because she is really great. That's Hanky Tree, or Hanky Tree, but I don't know exactly how you pronounce that. The robot lady. Her ultimate removes all buffs, and her basic attack 2 stages also remove a buff. So you can remove 2 buffs with her basic attack. And since she can protect your team, she also pursues with her basic attacks a team and basically removing all the buffs from your enemy. Really nice, really great hero to have in your team. So this is about the heroes. So a good hero has CC, turn meter, manipulation, defense, offense, and buffs or buff removers. Popper has CC because if he dies, he stuns the whole team. He has turn meter manipulation, really great turn meter manipulation. He has no real defense. He has no real offense, but he has some damn good buffs and buff removers because his grenade not only gives effect resistance down, but also removes 1 buff from the enemy, 1 random buff. And effect resistance down mean more chance to put buffs on or CCs on the enemy. And also he can kind of buff or debuff the team. Defense down, tenacity down on the enemy is really great because not only makes it the target a little bit more squeezy, also defensive heroes, you take away their offensive capabilities. Defense down on Brynhild and basically taking away 60% of her damage dealing capabilities. So great hero. Other heroes, Rister. I already mentioned him a few times. CC, yeah. Even his basic attack has a little chance to inflict stun, but his ultimate can stun a whole team. Turn meter manipulation. Yeah, you can give your highest damage dealer, or not damage dealer, your ally with the highest attack, which is most likely the highest damage dealer, but it's not always the case. 30% turn meter, so turn meter manipulation also a plus. Defensive, no, not a lot of shield and protections and anti-CCs, no. Offense, yeah, quite, because if he uh, buffs, and that's the other one, buffs, he will give a buff at attack 40% attack up. He can act right away. So, and if he uses not his CCs but his basic attack, the ally with Alliance, which just got 40% attack up, will pursue and attack the same target. So if you pair him with Nalua, she also will deal attacks with her basic attacks. And maybe you saw it, but her basic attack can deal up to 1.2, 1.3 million damage. You saw she killed Hanky 3, the enemy Hanky 3, and of course it was not really a good gear, but still, she killed it with her basic attack. So it's not the offensive capabilities of Rister, but okay, he still can be called a little bit of an offensive hero. And again, buffs, we already mentioned it. So, great hero. Um, Other great heroes. Gilliman. CC, no. Terminator manipulation, no. Defensive capabilities, no. But really solid damage dealer, especially when she can do the ultimate and cast a free second attack and removing all the buffs. It's so important. So Gilliman, really solid PvP hero, but you need her exclusive 3 if you not only want her as a buff remover, but also for the offensive capabilities. Jack and Roll, yeah. CC, no, but he is protected by CC, immune to stun and freeze. So great turn meter manipulation. Now, like the defensive capabilities, like he's immune to freeze and stun. He has not really good offense, but it's not needed because he gets, and basically it's the same as Rister. He can increase the ally's turn up to 100%. So basically, giving your damage dealer or your CC or an extra turn right away. Really nice hero. For example, Jack, Little Jack. Little Jack, is he a good hero? He has no CC. He has no turn meter manipulation. He has no kind of defensive things. He has great offense, but the thing is, his greatest offense, it needs some time to build up because you need these layers of candy bomb to really shine for damage, and he will not attack the whole team. So, also no. Buff and buff remover, not at all. Little Jack, although one of the best heroes at the moment for PvE content, for PvP, he is, let's say, worthless. How about Nita? Because Nita, it has the same. It has no CC, it has no turn meter manipulation, it has no defensive capabilities, it has really great offensive capabilities, and no buffs or buff removing. But her offensive capabilities are so great because he deals so much damage and put these poisons debuffs on them. Not only make it, for example, harder for enemy Catherine, to remove a CC, a stun, a freeze, because there's a chance that one layer of poison is removed. Also, when an enemy acts, the poison goes off, and more than once it happens that there is an enemy still a little bit left after the ultimate from Nita, a little bit hit points left, and then when it was the turn of that hero, it killed itself because of the poison, the damage over time ability that goes off. So Nita, although only good at offensive, she is so good at that, and you need enemy or heroes to kill that she is the exception. Like she is focused on offensive, but you really can use that, and you build your team around her. So CC, turn meter manipulation, defensive capabilities, buff removers are put in a team around her. So, what are good teams? Good teams are teams where you have all these abilities. Unless you forget a thing, for example, you forget your shields, protection, CC, your defense, even buff removers, buffs. If you know that you can act and kill the enemy before they act, and a really good turn meter manipulation cleave team can do that. So again, looking at my teams. This team, it has some kind of CC, it has a lot of turn meter manipulation, basically all the heroes except for Nalua. But Nalua is the one there for the defense, sorry, for the offense, and also for the anti-CC. I already talked about it. So basically what I try is like, I try to let all my heroes act and just basically build up removing turn meter so that Manulua can cleave, nuke the enemy before they can build up defense, CC my team, shield, whatever other nasty stuff. And not only is you really good damage dealer with the attack up to, the defense down from Popper is also really great because that's why you see so high numbers. Not only is she a solid hero, even her basic attack deals quite a lot of damage, but with the attack up to and the defense down, you get the numbers like more than 1,000,000 damage with a basic attack from the Lua. My second team, it's a team that has CC. Yeah, it has CC in the form of Santa. It has turn meter manipulation. Yeah, it has turn meter manipulation. Not only in the form of Big Jack, which gives 20 or 30% turn meter to the whole team. Also, the innate ability from Paulin. Paulin gets turn meter when he is the slowest or like slower than enemies. And also when CCs are put on him or the enemy or the team, he will give and gets extra turn meter. Defensive, yeah, 100%. Lot of hit points, a lot of hit points, a lot of hit points. He also, with his buffs, give defensive capabilities, like defense up, hit points, extra hit points. So defense, yes. Anti-CC, also here. And my Big Jack also has immunity to stun and freezes in his ability. Offense, a little bit less than, for example, Nalia. But she deals quite a lot of damage with her ultimate. She cleaves, deals damage, put a damage over time, suffocate, for if I'm correct, buff of debuff on the enemies. So yeah, some capabilities. Also, that's really soft CC, like if you can put the wet and the cold on enemies, like helping out, taking away the big punch from the enemy heroes. And then you have Brunhild, and Brunhild, if set up correct, because her basic attack cannot kill um, an enemy, a full health enemy, but together with Narit, uh, already peeling off a lot of damage from them, like she can get 2, 3 kills in a row to pick off the softer targets. But yeah, for example, Anita is a soft target, but if she can act, you're dead. So if you can pick up pick out Nita and kill it with a basic attack, it's nice, you win the game. So and the big Nordic that stays alive, let him stay alive. If it's the only one, and he will not kill your team, and you slowly uh, will pick him out because you have all the abilities to remove CC, etc., etc. Because buff removal, yeah, Pauline basic attack removes one buff, and in times of needs, Brunhild has her second attack, removing all the buffs. So if you use your skills wisely, you have everything in this team that is needed. CC, turn meter manipulation, defense, offense, buffs, buff removers. And then the last team, CC. No, this team has no CC because Lydia is not exclusive free, but a lot of turn meter manipulation, space, Lydia, and Ben. Offense, yeah, one of the best cleavers for my uh, level. Nita is in it. And buff removers. Yeah, a lot of buffs in form of Cat, also anti-CC in it, shields in it, so defensive capabilities. Some heals from space also helps, and you can remove the CCs with Ben. So if you can act before the enemies kill with Nita, and like in the test that we showed earlier, you saw that only Agatha was alive, and removing the boss with Ben, it's really nice. So, what are good teams? Good teams are teams that had a lot of them, and if they missed something out of these five, then you know why they miss it and how you can compensate for it. Complementing heroes are uh, so I forgot the name. Ronai and Popper. Why? Uh, they are fast. They remove turn meter, and two together will remove so much turn meter that they basically help each other getting extra turns and removing turn meter, and it goes around and it goes around. Also, Popper is in this case great with the defense down for Nelua's nuke. In this team, um, Paulin, uh, his buffs are defense up, which scales with the damage from Brynhild, and giving extra hit points, which scales with the damage of Nereid. So that's why I put Paul in a little bit more defensive, offensive team. And heroes that are really complementing each other are Ben and Nita. Why? Because if you fight other Nita team, so this team, and you get your ultimate, Nita will not die because she is immune to poisons. And if you cannot kill her, then she does her ultimate, kills the whole team, and it's a Nita versus Nita. And then you lose because you will not win. Because both Nitas cannot kill each other. If you put a ban in it, what you can do is use your ultimate, kill the enemy team, except for the enemy Nita, but because he uses his attack 2 first, basically stealing 50% turn meter from all the enemies, he will act right away, and then you can use the ultimate of Ben on the Nita, removing all the buffs, the heal buffs, give her a block debuff, so other poisons from Nita will not give her a heal anymore. And Space and Lydia will remove turn meter and kill the enemy Nita. So this ban, in my case, or in my opinion, is not mandatory, but almost needed with Nita. And other heroes that are complementing each other is, for example, where it's really clear the new hero Jingle Bell needs pursue attacks, and there's only one or two heroes that have that, and the best one is Ben. Ben's ultimate gives pursue. So in this case, it's clear that Jingle Bell really benefits from a Ben Austin in a team. A few heroes that are not working together, because you have complementary heroes, but you have also heroes, if you put them together, they work against each other. Is that so? Yeah, that is so. For example, if you put, and I had that team, I had Lydia and Popper together in this team. So before I had Ronai, I had basically this. And although a Lydia and a Popper really complementing each other, why Popper acts an extra turn right after the first of his allies acts. And since Lydia acts always as first, what will happen is that she steals turn meter, gives Popper an extra turn right away. He can also steal remove turn meter, basically countering the enemy cleave team. Like, because cleave teams, they want to remove turn meter, boost turn meter from themselves if possible, and nuke your whole team before they can act. This one is great. The problem is, if there is an Azil in the enemy team, what will happen is Lydia will act, because she always acts first and gives Popper that extra attack. But in between, Nazil comes. Nazil freezes my team. But because my Lydia already acted, my Nulua gets that extra layer, that one layer is removed, but she already got one extra layer. Then she freezes, but she is not on the 6 layers of the team. Basically, she will not get the ability to remove all the CCs from her and then cast her ultimate. So if you put a Lydia and a Nalua in one team, you take away the ability removing CC from Nalua. making her worse than in a team without Lydia. So really important, that's why I put her here now and put her there. So it's possible to weaken your heroes. Now, speed tuning, the last part. And speed tuning means like you want to make your the speed of your characters in such a way that you know that uh, they act in a certain order. Basically, what I did was I steal some turn meter, boost turn meter, steal turn meter, and then she was. But if you have a fast team, it's possible that, for example, if there is a Paulin, that he will act in between this team. You can still steal turn meter, but put some buffs, defensive buffs, effect resistance down, and then your Nita can try to cleave, but he hits like a wet noodle. So now I put in Guilliman, and I made the speed of Guilliman a little bit faster than the speed of Nita. So my Nita 1855, 2006. Look what I did. I put a speed gear on it. Because of that, I removed some of her damage capabilities, but now she will act before my Nita. Her ultimate will remove all the buffs, and then Nita will act. And the best thing that I could do is I could get a Guilliman who is just a little bit faster. So my Nita is 1955. My Guilliman ideally should be 9060, 5 points, or even 9056, so 1 point faster. So she will act, and there is no time in between removing the buffs and the nuke, the cleave nuke of Nita, for enemies to be in. Or you need that window as slow as possible. Because if she removes the buffs at 2006 speed, or like at that speed, and an enemy is at 1970 and put some shields, or for example a Nordak, putting the damage immunity on it, the nuke from Nita comes a little bit later and is wasted. So the best, and I didn't speed tune my Guilliman, I only made her faster than my Nita, but now I should make her a little bit slower and bring that speed as close, but still a little bit higher, as the speed of Nita. So around 9060 or 9056, that's the best, but close to that number. The closer you are, the less chance an enemy can snipe in between Guilliman and Nita. And this is important, this is speed tuning. Like sometimes it's better to make a target a little bit slower, and that's the, for example, also thing with my focus. 23-17-8, it's fast, but not super fast for my team. You see, like at the moment, no mythical. I cannot do it. But I have mythical boots, maybe even this one. Yeah. So even though I want my wrist faster, that is because I want my focus normally to act after my Nulua. And the speed of my Nulua is 1900, so about 400 speed slower. But I know that she get the 30% turn meter boost by Rister. So, but if I would make him 2600 speed, which is possible because I have other heroes, let's do that. He will always act before my Nulua because even with the 20 or the 30% turn meter, her relative speed, let's say, will be 2500. Yeah, and then focus will act before, and that's not what I want because I want focus to act after Nulua, so Nulua can nuke or remove and use her second attack. Then gets another turn with all her skills reset, and do another nuke. Basically, two nukes enemy team is dead. So that's speed tuning. Like sometimes take a little bit speed off an enemy to or not an enemy, a hero, to make sure that you act at a certain speed. And that speed is relative to other heroes in your team. So, not always the fastest hero is the best hero, although speed is king. It's about when a hero acts. There were a few questions in Discord about making guild versus guild teams, and I already explained what in my opinion would be good arena teams. So I will just tell them what I would choose and also a little bit why. And all three have a limited amount of heroes. So yeah, don't expect full wins, especially against the top dogs that we are fighting at the moment. Because we were number 8 this guild battle, if I'm correct. Let's see. Ranking. Oh, this is server ranking. Oh, we are even 7th. Yeah, that's not the place where we should be. And then you can see, like, yeah, we're going to lose everything, which is expected. Although, look, I'm absolutely not the strongest, but by really tweaking your teams, like I told you in the previous part, you see that I can manage even against these top dogs almost or more than 80% win rate. So yeah, a little bit tweaking, and don't expect to win everything, but if you win 5% more and everybody wins 5% more, it can be the difference between just losing or just winning. Keep in mind that it's not only this win rate, because this is nice, this is how much I win, but if they fight against me, I need at least a 19.2% win rate, 19.2% win rate, to actually a little bit higher, of course, to win the totals. So what I mean by that is your win rate with the battles you initiate, together with the win rate from the battles they initiate against you needs to be higher than 100%. If it's higher than 100%, you bring in more points than they bring in fighting you. So if you get this number higher than 100%, you provide a win chance, and if it's under 100%, you provide them a win chance. So yeah, if it's 80%, they need you only need 1 out of 5 battles in the defensive battle to win. And also, it's important that you make teams that not only when you start the fight will win, but also where they have a hard time to fight against if you are the defender. And what I mean by that is maybe I can have a quick look. Yeah. Let's say this one, the first team, way higher power level, but as you might see, like bad teams, really bad teams. I won 3 flags easy. If he has to fight me, all my teams make a good chance against all his teams. So it's not specific that I, for example, if I have a Nazil in my team, all you have to do is put in a counter. That means a polling. A polling team versus a Nazil team, it's counter. And if you see an enemy team with a Nazil, or in this case my team with a Nazil, the only thing you have to do is put a polling against it. So that's why there is no Nazil in my team, because it's easy, decently easy countered. The other thing is, if your roster of heroes is not that big, putting in a Nazil means, okay, you will lose that fight, but you know that the Paulin, which Paulin is one of the most nasty heroes in PvP, is at least gone. And if Paulin is gone and you need to fight another team, so for example, my Paulin is put in this one, I have a hard part for this enemy, because if Nita can get his ultimate off, it wiped my team. In my case, not if I can put the Paulin against her, because Paulin protects your heroes, also does a really good protection against the dots from Nita. So if you can use Paulin to protect your team before the Nita goes off, you actually make a chance to fight that, to survive that attack. So building your teams, at least when you have a little bit bigger rooster, is not a rooster, a roster. Rooster is, I think, a male chicken. You make it harder for your enemies to win battles they initiate. And that makes you getting up to 100%. And that makes you actually winning points, like I said. So the 3 people that ask for some help in the teams are TC, Python, and Dutch. And in that order, I also will tell a little bit what I would choose. So for TC, yeah, the best team in my opinion is the team built around Nita, because Nita is just a great hero to attack. But you need her to give her a little bit of a boost, so that's why I put Rister in the team. You also need to be sure that she goes as fast as possible, so that's why there's also space in the team, and in this case also a ban, so you can do some turn meter manipulation. And as a defending hero, I have Catherine in it to give some shield, some consolidation, and also to remove a nasty CC. That means that Catherine should be fastest, or at least faster than Rister, Ben, and Nita. Ben also great, not only for the turn meter manipulation, but what I already said is if he can steal with his attack 2 3 times 15% turn meter, most likely after Nita will do her ultimates, and there is only one hero still standing, maybe two. Ben will get another turn, and you can use his ultimate to finish the last or the four last targets. Especially good against to counter other Nitas in the team. Normally, when you have a Nita in your team, you don't want to fight another Nita. With Ben, there is a bigger chance to actually win. Keep in mind, the first Nita that attacks will win, because if Nita can, the enemy Nita can get her ultimate off, your Ben is also gone, and then it's still Nita against Nita. So a fast Ben is pretty important. The second team for TC is it's a bit of a hard one, and it's a slow one, but I think it might work, and that's because there's not really a lot of good damage dealing PvP heroes. So in this case, what I have done is I made a Pauline, Nordek, Nazil, Senta, Nereid team. And the thing is, Pauline and Nordek are tough motherfuckers. They defend your team pretty well, especially if you can get that defense up. And if I look at your heroes and the power level, what you normally would fight is not a team that has all hankies or hanky or Gidimans or other nasty buff removers in them. So if you can get your Nordek to do that protection, it's pretty decent. Nazil and Santa for the freeze and the ulti-freeze, the perma-freeze, and Nereid is the one dealing damage. And especially with Pauline and Nordek boosting hit points and boosting defense, she can dish out a pretty decent amount of damage. The Nordek, with enough shields, can with his basic attack also dish out a pretty decent single target damage. So he is a kind of your second DPS in this team. It might be a bit hard, but in my opinion, it's doable. You lack a bit on the offense, maybe a little bit too much on the defense, but I think that with the CC and the defense, that you can outlast your opponents and kill them. Of course, the thing is, there is no buff remover, so if you're fighting a heavy buffed enemy team, so team also the same team, like it might be a nightmare. So yeah, the thing is, perma-freeze them, let their boost run out if that's possible. Yeah, still I think that's the best choice. A Brunhild would really complement this team to give a little bit more of oomph in the team. And the last team, it's kind of a cleave team. It's based around Bull. Bull is, especially with your exclusives, Bull is A really great hero. So I put him together with Poseidon. I didn't see him in your list, but I guess that you have him, or it should be easily built. And Poseidon, of course, exclusive 3 is mandatory. Exclusive 5 for the extra 100 speed shouldn't be a problem since he is an epic. Then Focus, a Gilliman, and a Lydia. Lydia is there to snipe and to give attack up, and also to give consolidation. I don't know if without exclusive he will do that. Anywho, I think Lydia is the best option here. Gilliman, although she is not exclusive 3, which make her a lot stronger in offensive terms, she is here to remove any buffs. And Bull is the one killing the enemy. So, yeah, the thing is, use Poseidon and Focus to make Gilliman faster if there are enemy buffs. So don't waste it on Bull and let your Bull hit like a wet noodle. Sometimes, and that's a bit the kind of play that you need to feel, is give Gilliman an extra turn to remove the buffs, and sometimes it's needed to, or needed, you can better use the extra attack from Poseidon or Focus on Bull to kill. Keep in mind what also is possible, and it depends on some situations. Your Focus can give an extra attack and remove all the cooldowns of your attacks. So sometimes it's possible to let Focus give Poseidon an extra turn. Poseidon uses his second attack, and that not only gives attack up, also crit up and crit damage up. So it's a little bit stronger than Focus. Only do that when, for example, Poseidon boosts Gilliman. Gilliman removes all buffs from the opponents. Then your Focus goes. Focus will boost Poseidon again, and Poseidon will boost Bull. In this case, because Poseidon will not remove the cooldown, but since Bull didn't act, because the first extra attack from Poseidon was on Gilliman, you can do it this way, and Bull will not only get attack up, but also crit up and crit damage up. So that's an option that you can do as well. So that's the teams for TC. So Cat, Space, Rister, Ben, and Nita for the first one. Paulin, Nordak, Nereid, Nazil, and Santa for the second one. Lydia, Gilliman, Bull, the Poseidon, and Focus for the third one. Then Python. Now, the same team basically for Python. The first one, the team around Nita, it's a Ben, Rister, Space, and Cat team. It's the same as for TC. The second team, here you see that there is a Brunhild. So what I did was I made a Paulin Nordak, which are great for Nereid and Brunhild. So they are both in it as well. And the fifth hero in this case is an Asindo. This Asindo is here just to help you survive a little bit more with the silence, and also if you can manage to get Nereid's called, or I think it was called to suffocate, I always forget, off, so they cannot do basic attacks, and your Asindo can silence the team. Yeah, it's great. Also, your enemy needs to counter that team also by putting an anti-CC in the team, or at least use a team that has anti-CC, else your Asindo will hamper the so much that you would win. And the last team is Nazil, Lydia, Henk E3, Agatha, and Donald. And why this team? Yeah, I was looking for the damage dealers, so that's why I put Agatha there. Also benefits from Polin and Nordek. I still put her here because I think that the Brunhild Nereid is working a little bit better together. Um, and the fun thing is that Hanky Tree, if she can defend Donald, then this team is really deadly. And is still helping to freeze Lydia, to snipe Turnimeter, and then Hanky Tree and Donald really protecting with his taunt, and Agatha slowly, no, not so slowly, but like can pretty open because she is defended. Hopefully enough for doing some damage. Still, Agatha, if you have another damage dealer, and I'm not pretty sure whom, but yeah, for example, a bull or even a Guilliman, that might be an option there. And Dutch. For Dutch, I also made a team, and this team, first one is a Nordek, Paulin, Nazil, Mackin, and Quinlan. And you said that you had 3 eyes. If it's only based on PvP, I would put the exclusive 3 eye on Quinlan, but only if you really want to focus on PvP, because else I think that you can better use the eyes on other heroes. Um, for example, a hero that can bring your guild boss damage close to the 400 million in one go, because guild bosses, but also some of the other PvE content can give some really nice benefits. Guild boss gives by far the best uh, bang for the buck, but also like if you can do a higher level of dwarven wounds for gear, it will at the end boost your team more. So yeah, if you want to use the eyes for PvP, put it on Quinlan to make him exclusive 3. The second team is Cut, Space, Ben, Focus, and Nita. So it's a little bit different team than the other one, because I put Focus here and not Rister. That means that most likely the first attack of your Nita will not have an attack up, unless you use your focus to make Nita a little bit faster, to act faster, and that's also an option. So you can play it slow, depending on how your speed of your heroes are, by just speed boost with space, steal, turn meter steal with Ben, protect your team by Cat, and then focus will boost Nita's speed even more, plus the attack up too. Nita will cleave kill the enemy team. The second option is like the same as before, only not use focus to boost Nita. Let it wait a little bit. Let Nita do the first wave with her ultimate, and then as soon as focus gets a second turn, uh, uh, reset the cooldown of Nita and let Nita do her ultimate one more time, in this time with attack up 2, which should be if the enemy is not allowed to put enough defense or healing up to kill the team. the second time. It depends on the strength of the enemy, the strength of you, your team. If Nita can kill the enemy right away with one ultimate, then of course Booster, and else play a little bit more reserved. The third team is the Mamuk Asindo, Henki Tree, Lukea Rista team. And in this case, again, Asindo exclusive one, almost a must for PvP. So if it's only for PvP, put your eye in Asindo, because the 30% turn meter at the start is really a game changer. Mamuk and Sindo complement each other. You can use Henki Tree to protect Mamuk. They need to attack Mamuk, and then you are almost certain that Henki Tree can do her counter attacks, basic attacks, removing buffs. That's really great. The thing is, you also have Rister. Just put an eye on him. PvE, PvP, Rister E1 is really great. In my opinion, worth the eye for every all content, because he will give the extra turn meter, he will give the extra basic attack. It's great, or the extra turn for Risty himself, so that he gets extra turn meter. It's a great exclusive one. Brister is here to boost up Lukea and to give Lukea some extra bang, and she needs that because in her own she's not be able to kill an enemy team, in my opinion. But with Brister and together with Hanky 3, which is a hero that can also do a little bit of damage, I would say that Lukea would be able to kill an enemy team. And since Mamuk and Asindo are there to protect your Lukea, and if needed, Hanky 3 can also put her defensive buff on Lukea. I think that one damage dealer, one pure damage dealer in this case, is enough. So that were the three teams. I hope it's a little bit clear why I choose these teams. I hope you enjoyed the talk. If you have any questions, put them in the Discord. I will answer them. Have a nice day. See you around. Love you all.